rushes to deliver the news to Kafka, but he sees him in his kaiju form, so he kicks him. Kafka quickly changes back, and Reno warns him he's still wanted, so he can't just expose himself. Reno gives him the letter, but wonders why he isn't excited, so Kafka mentions it's the second round that he normally fails. We learn that the second round is the practical exam, and Reno wonders how he'll hide his body since there will be officers watching. But Kafka says he will take it regardless, and since he's 32, this is his last chance to make it in. On the day of the exam, we see them arriving at the Defense Force's Tachikawa base. We see other participants arriving, and there's suddenly a girl that calls out to Kafka, calling him old. He freaks out and explains he's only 32, but she tells him his car is in the way. He notes that there are plenty of spots, but the girl mentions that 55 is her lucky number. Kafka thinks about teaching her some manners, but the girl decides to move it herself. She takes off her jacket, revealing a suit, and she lifts their car with only one hand, throwing it to the side. Kafka freaks out about the damage, and Reno wonders who the girl is, so she introduces herself as Kokoro Shinomiya, mentioning that her favorite hobby is killing kaiju, but she suddenly starts smelling Kafka, saying he smells like a kaiju. But Reno defends him, explaining it's because they're disposal workers, so she looks down on them, saying they aren't supposed to be there. But she sees Kafka lifting the car, and she can't believe he has superhuman strength, thinking he's also wearing a suit. He tells her he's going to be taking the exam, telling her to remember his name, and she believes things are about to get interesting, saying she's going to prove that she's better than him. We meet her butler Sabasu, and they head inside. But Reno becomes upset, because Kafka used his powers to lift the car. So he explains that he only transformed his hand, so that no one will notice, but Reno tells him that isn't the issue, advising him not to use his powers, and Kafka agrees to this. They make their way inside, as Kafka notes that this is his last chance to join the Defense Force, so he's determined to give it everything he has. We learn that the second round of the exam has 2 parts, and they aren't sure if they're going to do well during the aptitude test, so they decide to give the fitness test everything they have. But as the exam begins, we see Kafka struggling, as he notes that his performance is worse than before, so he thinks he got weaker because of his age. Kafka doesn't perform well, so Kokoro mocks him, because he told her to remember his name, but his ranking is terrible, and he's nowhere near her level. So he falls into despair, but Reno admires him for not using his powers, and he explains that he doesn't want to play dirty, knowing everyone is doing their best to pass the exam. But he thinks about his ranking, realizing he could have improved it by using his powers, but Reno explains that there's another reason why he didn't do well. They start talking about the top dogs in the exam, and Reno tells Kafka about the rank 2 candidate, Haru Izumo, revealing that he graduated top of his class from a prestigious university. The rank 3 candidate named Furuhashi also graduated as a valedictorian from his school, and he's known for his incredible strength. The top candidate, Kagura, was invited to become an elite member of Japan's ground force, but he turned down the offer because he wanted to join the Defense Force instead. Reno adds that there are other competent candidates, so he knows the competition is going to be tough. But he mentions that everyone's watching Kokoro, saying she's considered to be a prodigy because she was able to graduate from a prominent university at the age of 16. So they think she has incredible talent, and everyone wants to defeat her. Kafka approaches her, saying she's amazing, but her bodyguards beat him up, telling him not to touch her. She thinks he's pathetic, and she promises to keep making him look bad, so he becomes upset, saying he's going to get his revenge. But he thinks he's going to fail the exam, so Reno tells him not to lose hope, thinking the next test is about kaiju corpse disposal, so they think they have the advantage. The candidates head to the next area, where they meet Sashiro Hashina, the vice captain of the 3rd Division, who tells them they're about to have their aptitude test. He opens a gate, and Kafka is excited for kaiju corpse disposal, but Sashiro tells them they're going to be killing kaiju instead. Reno and Kafka aren't happy to hear this, and a kaiju tries to leave the gate, but it's stopped by a barrier. Kokoro sees Kafka freaking out, so she laughs at him, and Sashiro explains that they'll be wearing combat suits during the test. Reno wears his suit, and it fits him perfectly, as it mentions that it has finished analyzing his body. Sashiro explains that the suits are made of organic material taken from kaiju, and it grants the user superhuman abilities. the operator Konomi measures the candidate's unleashed combat power, revealing that Reno has only tapped into 8% of his suit's power, while the top students have unlocked over 10%. Sashiro mentions that they should be able to reach 20% after they finish training, and Furuhashi appears to be disappointed with his result. But Sashiro finds them interesting, because only talented candidates can unlock 10% of the suit's potential without training. But Konomi reveals that Kikoru has tapped into 46% of the suit's power, recognizing her as the greatest talent in history, because she's already at the level of a platoon leader. Reno thinks he's pathetic, but Sashiro tells him he's doing fine, saying he can still pass the test. But we see Kafka struggling, as Konomi reveals that his unleashed combat power is 0%, which is the lowest number in history, so Sashiro laughs at him, thinking he's going to fail. He can't believe this is happening, thinking there's something wrong with his suit, but Kikoru knows he's hiding his powers, and she's waiting for him to use it before the exam comes to an end. They prepare for the final test, as Sashiro explains that they need to eliminate the kaiju in the area, saying the drones will be monitoring their actions. He reveals that the suits have shields, which the examiners will activate if a candidate's life is in danger, but he explains that the candidate will be disqualified if this happens. The test begins, and Kikoru starts jumping around the area, shooting down the kaiju in her path. But Kafka struggles to move around, saying his weapon is too heavy because his suit isn't giving him power. Reno wonders what they should do, knowing they aren't strong enough to defeat the kaiju, but Sashiro reveals that Mina is watching them. So Kafka remembers his promise to her, and he recalls that this is his last chance to join the defense force, so he's determined to succeed. He thinks there are drones in the area, because the examiners want to see how the candidates will adapt to difficult situations. So Reno realizes that they don't need to kill the kaiju themselves, and they decide to do their part by supporting the others. They see Haru's group fighting a kaiju, and they're struggling against its armor, but Kafka knows its weakness because he disposed of its body in the past. So he throws a bomb, and it stuns the kaiju, as he explains that it has incredibly good hearing, so the explosion overwhelmed its senses. He tells Haru to aim for its stomach, so he follows Kafka's instructions, and their bullets are able to penetrate it, causing the kaiju to explode. He thanks Kafka for his help, and he starts looking for another kaiju, thinking he can pass the exam without using his powers. But a kaiju suddenly attacks him, sending him crashing against a wall, and the examiners note that he's injured, thinking he can't continue fighting. So they prepare to activate his shield, but he refuses to give up, knowing Mina is watching him. The kaiju is about to eat him, but it suddenly gets blown into pieces, as Kikoru arrives, telling him she can clear the area alone, so he can just stay on the ground, calling him a loser. The top dogs realize she's going after the main target, and they're determined to eliminate it before she does. But they realize that she's stronger than them, thinking it's because of her unleashed combat power. Kafka struggles to get back up, realizing his leg is broken, and Sashiro calls him, advising him to drop out, because he's too injured to continue fighting. So he wonders if it's time to quit, knowing he has no talent whatsoever, so he thinks he's going to fail. But he still refuses to give up, because he doesn't want to abandon his dream, and the examiners are surprised, as he starts tapping into his suit's powers. He manages to get back up, so Sashiro agrees to let him continue. Kafka still struggles, and he worries about holding Reno back, but Reno is determined to stick together. We see Reno carrying him, and Sashiro laughs while watching them. They try to catch up with Kikoru, and Reno tells Kafka to handle the attack. Meanwhile, we see Kikoru easily taking out the kaiju, and she's so fast that no one can even help her. She reaches the Hanju, the final target, and she throws a grenade to stun it. She then jumps between its teeth, and finishes it with a single shot. The kaiju falls, so the test comes to an end, as the drones are recalled, and Kafka can't believe Kikoru killed it so quickly. Mina is impressed by her strength, and Sashiro notes that she cleared the test so quickly that no one else dropped out, and we learn that Kikoru is the daughter of the director. Kikoru hopes she made her father proud, and she prepares to go and laugh at Kafka again, but there's another kaiju that appears, and she suddenly gets shot. Meanwhile, Kafka wonders about their result, but the destroyed kaiju suddenly get back up. We see Kikoru stopping her bleeding, and the kaiju is surprised she can still move, but Kikoru is shocked to hear it talking. She tries to shoot it, but the kaiju fires first. The examiners hear her screaming, and they detect her